All right, and we'll start laying on our backs. Knees bent, feet on the floor as usual. And let's just take a moment to find our alignment. So we'll check in with our feet and make sure they're aligned with each other and with our sit bones. We'll ground the tailbone down, level the pelvis so the hip bones and pubic bone are even with one another. That natural curve should be present in the lower back. Lower ribs are wrapped, shoulder blades grounded, chest open, and back of the neck is long. Let's bring the low back down to the floor on the exhale, beginning with some pelvic tilts. Inhale, return to neutral. Just moving the pelvis and lower back. Exhale, low back to the floor. Inhale, return to neutral. We'll do a few more of these, just pulling the belly button in towards the spine as we go and starting to feel our abdominal muscles working. Let's do one more here. Exhale, low back to the mat. Inhale, come to neutral. On the next one, we'll roll up into a bridge. So low back to the ground, pull your pubic bone towards your ribs, and peel your spine off the mat, rolling up into the air, holding at the top, heels pulling towards your bottom. And then let's roll down one bone at a time, lengthening your spine down onto the floor, and then finding a neutral pelvis at the bottom. We'll inhale there, exhale, low back down to the ground, abs engaged, pubic bone towards the ribs, and then using your hamstrings to roll up the rest of the way, thinking about pulling your heels towards your bottom and keeping those inner thighs engaged. Roll back down, one bone at a time, lengthening your spine down onto the ground. Finding neutral, inhale there. Exhale, low back down to the mat, pubic bone towards ribs, peel your spine off the mat. Inhale at the top, backs of the thighs engaged, inner thighs engaged. Exhale as we roll back down one bone at a time. Coming all the way down, finding a neutral pelvis at the bottom. We'll inhale there. Exhale, low back down to the ground, strong tummy, peel your spine off of the mat. Let's hold at the top. Inhale, inner thighs engaged. Exhale, roll halfway down. So we're rolling down until we find a nice tuck of the pelvis. We want to feel the pubic bone pulling towards the ribs. The bum is lifted off the floor and the abdominal muscles are working. And then we're rolling right back up by pulling the heels towards the bottom. So let's do that again. Keep breathing. We'll roll halfway down, bringing the low back almost to the mat, but finding that nice tuck of the pelvis and that connection to your tummy. And then let's roll back up into our bridge, pulling the heels towards the bum. Good. So we'll roll halfway down, finding that strong engagement of the abdominal muscles, and then pull your heels towards your bottom and roll back up into your best bridge. Inner thighs engaged. We're just going to do a couple more is rolling halfway down, finding the tuck of your pelvis, strong tummy, rolling back up. And we'll do one more, rolling halfway down, finding the length in the lower back, and then rolling back up. Hold, inhale, engage your inner thighs, and then roll all the way back down onto your mat on your next exhale, moving each vertebrae of your spine, coming all the way down and finding a neutral pelvis at the bottom. Let's take our arms out to a T, palms up towards the ceiling, legs one at a time up to tabletop. Let's bring our legs towards each other, engaging the inner thighs, low abs strong. We'll rotate the lower body on the inhale. Take your legs to a diagonal, tiny pause there, and then exhale, low back comes down to the ground, legs return to center, and we find a neutral pelvis and spine. Inhale, go the other way. Exhale, pull your low back down to the ground, strong obliques, legs come to center. We find neutral there. Inhale in the rotation, lifting a hip, using your side body both to lift the hip and then also to help bring those legs back to center. Then we find neutral. So inhale, lift your hip, going the other way, and my little pause there. Exhale, bring your low back to the floor, legs return to center, and then we find a neutral pelvis and spine. Good. Lifting a hip, legs go to the diagonal, tiny pause, pull your low back down to the floor as your legs return to center, and then finding a neutral pelvis there. Good. Turning the other way, lifting a hip, pulling from your obliques, engaging your side body and your abdominals together, coming to center. Good. Let's do one more on each side. Shoulder blades really heavy down onto the floor. Good. Rotating the other way. When you're even, we'll come to center, find a neutral pelvis, and then let's go back into our pelvic tilt. So low back down to the ground, and then back to neutral. Pelvic tilts, low back to the mat, and then back to neutral with the pelvis. Focusing on the abdominal muscles again, keeping the tummy really strong. So we bring the low back down to the ground, and then come back to neutral. Let's do just a few more here, feeling the abdominal muscles work. Good. And one more, low back down to the ground, bringing it back to neutral. Pause. Let's go ahead and drop one leg down towards the floor, and then we're switching the legs. Exhale, switch the position of your legs. And inhale, pause, exhale, switch. Good. Inhale, pause, exhale, switch. Taking your time, moving your legs from the hip joint, keeping the knees nice and steady. Ideally, we're in a neutral pelvis right now, but if your hip flexors are really cranky or you feel like you need to modify in any way, then we'll push the low back down into the ground. Switching the legs, inhale, pause, exhale, switch. We're just going to do one more on each side. And when you're even, go ahead and put your feet down onto the floor. Let's take the legs all the way straight, extending them out onto the mat, lengthening through the front of the hips. And then let's take the arms up overhead, reaching overhead for a nice good morning stretch. Think about lifting your shoulder blades up towards your ears, letting your ribs flare, your back arch if it feels good, reaching through your toes. And then we'll bring the abdominal muscles back to engagement, pulling inwards with your tummy. Let's bring our arms up towards the ceiling, and then we'll lift the head and shoulders, bringing the pinkies to the thighs, reach forward through your fingertips, and then we're just going to lower it back down. We'll take our arms all the way back up overhead. Good. Let's do just a couple more of these, just lifting head and shoulders, reaching forward with your fingertips, bringing your pinkies to your thighs, and then lowering it back down so the arms return overhead. We'll do one more, and lifting the head and shoulders, reaching forward through your fingertips. Good. And then lowering it back down, arms return overhead. Let's take the legs to bent. Bring your arms back down by your sides. We'll bring the hands so that they're underneath your lower back. And then push your low back gently into your hands by pulling your belly button in towards your spine. So belly in towards your spine, feel gentle pressure on your hands, legs up to tabletop one at a time. We're going to hold the legs up here for a moment, check in with your belly, make sure your abs feel engaged and that there's that gentle pressure on your hands. If this isn't right for your arms, you can always put a towel under your back. Let's take one leg forward, straightening it out, and then bending that leg in. Take the other leg forward and then bend it. So straightening out, forward, and then bending. Straightening forward and bending. Alternating legs, keeping that gentle pressure on your hands, the pulling inwards of the abdominal wall. Excellent work. Let's do 3 more on each side. Moving with our breath, we can exhale, take the leg out, and inhale, bring it in. If that's too fast, we can always go exhale for one leg and inhale for the other. Just moving with our breath and being conscious of moving with the breath. Let's do one more on each side. Bring your legs into tabletop, and then let's go ahead and put the feet down onto the floor. Take your hands out from underneath your lower back. And let's go ahead and push the low back down into the floor now. So we're tilted with the pelvis, the abdominals are engaged, we're pushing the lower back into the floor and we're keeping it there, legs back up to tabletop. And then we're gonna do these same bicycles we did on Wednesday, moving the feet in the air like we're riding a bike. And then we can start to add a little more extension of the knees if we'd like, by either going up towards the ceiling as you extend, or taking it out further on a diagonal for more of a challenge, but we're keeping that low back down on the floor the whole time. Good. Keeping the belly pulling inwards, focusing the work on our abdominal muscles, moving the legs. We'll stay here for another 3, 2, 1, and then let's bring both legs to tabletop and put the feet down onto the floor. We'll extend the legs back out all the way out. And let's take our arms back up overhead. We'll do some roll-ups now. So if you need weights for these, you're welcome to take weights in your hands and reach your arms to the ceiling. Otherwise, we'll do without with the arms overhead. Inhale, lift your head and shoulders, bring your pinkies to your thighs. Exhale, use those strong abdominals and roll up with control. Find your C shape at the top. We want to feel like the belly button is pulling backwards, shoulders are staying just forward of the hips, and then we lift this shape up just a little bit. Let's roll it back down one bone at a time, lengthening the spine down onto the floor. Pinkies touch the thighs, and then the arms come all the way back up overhead, shoulder blades lifting up towards the ears. Let's inhale, lift the head and shoulders, pinkies to thighs. Exhale, reach forward with your fingers, rolling up. Use those strong abs. Find your C shape at the top, shoulders just forward to the hips, and then we lift that whole shape up a little bit. Roll it back down, setting your lowest vertebrae down on the mat first, lengthening your spine onto the floor. Arms return to starting position, and we'll do one more. Inhale, lifting the head and shoulders, bringing the pinkies to thighs. Exhale, rolling it up to a C shape, shoulders just forward to the hips, tummy pulls backwards, and then lifting up. Let's lift up so much that we come to our tallest seat, grounding the sit bones down and grounding the legs down into the floor, sitting as tall as you can, lifting through the crown of your head. And then let's go ahead and bring the hands so that they're touching the back of the head. Open your elbows wide, put your head back into your fingertips, working for that best posture. Lift up again through your spine. Good, sitting even taller. And then let's twist from the waist, 2 pulses. Come to center on the inhale, exhale, twist 2 pulses the other way. Inhale, center. Good, keeping it going. We use the side body for the rotations, and we think about lifting through the crown of the head as we come to center each time. Let's keep this going. Lifting up through center, exhale in your rotation, inhale center. Legs are so quiet on the mat because the pelvis is stable and anchored. Let's do 2 more on each side. And 1 more on each side. And when you're even, come to center, drop your hands, and let's grab our foam roller. We'll place it behind the back, and we're leaning back so that the foam roller rests just below the shoulder blades. Let's all bring our hands behind our heads, supporting the head and neck with the hands. And then we'll do some chest lifts here, but we're going into extension first. So arching the upper back, gentle with the first one. Inhale, exhale, lift back up, pulling your tummy in. And you can either go to a flat back or to a little bit of a sit-up. Do what's right for your body. Inhale, arching back. Exhale, lifting back up, maybe to a flat back, maybe to a little bit of a crunch, your choice. We'll keep this going. Inhale, arching. Exhale, pull your tummy inwards as you lift. We want to keep the belly drawing inwards and try to feel the length of your abdominal muscles each time you arch back. So we get that nice extension of our abdominals, and then we engage them in that nice lengthened position to come back up. Good. Inhale, arching, and exhale, lifting back up. Good. Let's do just a few more here, arching through the upper back, and then lifting up. 2 more, please. Just moving through your upper back, using your abdominal muscles. We'll do 1 more. Lifting up, hold there. You can keep a flat back or you can keep a little bit of a crunch. We're going to lift 1 leg up to tabletop. Hold it there. Take a moment to try to anchor your tailbone and see if you can make your pelvis neutral in this position, or what feels like neutral to you today. And then let's go ahead and switch the position of the legs. That other foot can rest down if you need it, or it can stay at a hover. Exhale, switch. Good. Inhale, pause. Exhale, switch. Inhale, pause. Pull inwards with your abdominal wall. Keep those abs working as we switch the legs. Good. And switch. And switch. Good. And switch. We're going to do 2 more on each side. And 1 more on each side. When you're even, go ahead and put your feet down. Let's take 1 more little extension. Let your abs lengthen as you arch your back over the foam roller. And then lifting it all the way back up. We'll reach forward, grab hold of our thighs, and pull yourself up to a seat. Let's move the foam roller. We're going to switch it so it's lengthwise on the mat. And we'll all find our weights and put them someplace nearby. And then we'll sit on the very end of the foam roller and lay down so that it's running up the length of your spine. Both bum and head should be well supported by the foam roller. And then we'll grab our weights. Once you have your weights in your hands, we're reaching our arms up towards the ceiling. And let's just start moving the shoulder blades a little bit. So the shoulder blades hug the foam roller and then separate on the back. They hug the foam roller and then separate. Just starting to find our shoulder blades, starting to move them a little, starting to engage those upper back muscles. We'll do 2 more here. And 1 more. And then let's settle the shoulder blades so that they're just touching the foam roller and we can feel where they are and a little bit of upper back engagement. Let's bring our arms slowly down by the sides of the body and then slowly back up towards the ceiling. So taking your time as we come down by the sides and back up towards the sky. We'll keep this going just nice and slow from the shoulders, keeping the upper back lightly engaged. So the shoulder blades continually, gently touching the foam roller. We'll do just a couple more here. Slowly down and slowly up. We'll do 1 more. Take your arms back up towards the ceiling and turn your palms so they face towards your feet. Let's come into a bench press. If you need any different weights, you're welcome to switch. We're reaching up towards the ceiling and then bending those elbows nice and wide, bringing the elbows slightly towards the floor and then reaching back up. We're going to try to avoid letting the shoulder blades pinch on that foam roller. So trying to keep the shoulder blades nice and steady. As we bend the elbows, we get some length in the muscles across the chest, and then we reach back up towards the sky. Let's do another 3 more here. And 2. Good. We'll do 1 more. Reaching your arms back up towards the ceiling, palms facing one another again. Bend your elbows so your hands come towards the floor over the crown of your head. Keeping your arms steady at the shoulder joint, let's straighten and bend the elbows, focusing on our triceps thinking about straightening your arms all the way with each repetition without letting any movement happen at the shoulder joint. So we'll straighten and bend the elbows while the shoulders stay nice and still. Focusing on the triceps, working the underside of the upper arm. Let's stay with this here, very strong from the triceps. Excellent. Let's keep this going. We'll do 2 more. And 1 more, straightening those arms all the way back up towards the ceiling. And then let's go ahead and open our arms. Again, if you need lighter weights or you need to go small, you can. We'll go towards the T and then back up towards the ceiling. So opening out, a little bit of muscle engagement across the chest and then back up towards the sky. Open and close. Good. Let's keep this going. We're going to do just a few more, working those muscles across the chest. Good. Let's do 2 more. And 1 more. And we'll take our arms back up towards the ceiling. Let's pause here. And we're going to bring our arms down by the sides of the body for a moment. Let's take the weights to the floor and we'll put them down. Arms steady down by the sides of the body on the floor. Legs 1 at a time up to tabletop. We're holding the legs up in the air. So let's find our balance. Ask the muscles in your belly to work to help hold you here. Think about finding a neutral pelvis and spine. So tailbone is heavy on the foam roller. And then we'll do some leg changes here. So let's drop 1 leg down towards the ground and then switch the position of the legs on the exhale. Inhale, pause, exhale, switch. Good. Inhale, pause, exhale, switch. And finding what additional abdominal engagement you need to help stay balanced here as the legs move in the air. Good. We're going to do 1 more on each side, and then we're speeding up the movement a little bit. So let's go ahead and move the legs more quickly now. We'll switch and switch and switch and switch, noticing whether you have to push your hands more firmly into the floor or if you can keep your abdominals working as the main part of your balance here. Let's do 3 and 2 and 1 more on each side, and then we'll put the feet down onto the floor for a moment. Taking hold of 1 weight and reaching it up towards the ceiling. And then let's lift the opposite leg up to tabletop. So we have opposite arm and leg lifted, opposite arm and hand stabilizing, finding neutral again with the pelvis, abs pulling inwards. And then let's take that leg straight out on a diagonal and the arm overhead. And it might be slightly overhead. It might be all the way overhead, depending on your weight, depending on your shoulder. Let's bring it back in. So we'll inhale, reach overhead, straighten the leg out away from the body. Exhale, bring it back in. You have the option of putting your weight down if this isn't a happy thing for your shoulder. You have the option of keeping the weight light or heavier, your choice. Inhale, reaching overhead. Exhale, bringing everything back in. Good. Reaching on the inhale. Exhale, bring it back in. We're doing 3 more on the side. Pull in with your tummy a lot. 2 more. Good. And 1 more. Bring it in. Let's put the foot down. We'll take the weight to the other hand, arm to the floor, and then we have opposite arm and leg lifted, abs drawing inwards. Let's inhale, reach overhead, leg extends. Exhale, pull it back in. Inhale, reaching out. Exhale, bringing it back in. Controlled and slow, keeping your tailbone heavy and your abdominals engaged. Good. Moving with your breath. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pull back in. Let's do One more. Our hands on the floor again. Top and then the other, holding the legs so that the knees go out towards the sides. And then engage your inner thighs and pull legs back to center. So we'll inhale, open the legs out to the sides. Exhale, bring them back into center. Good. And again, checking your balance. Feeling your abdominals work to help keep you steady here as we move the legs out away from center and then back in. Good. Pull inwards with your tummy. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Let's do two more. And one more. Coming back to center, let's put the feet down onto the floor. And then let's straighten our legs all the way out, reaching long through your toes and really extending those legs long. See if you can feel some length in the front of your hip joints by straightening your knees and anchoring your feet towards the floor. Taking a nice deep breath here. We'll bend our legs again, feet down onto the mat, and let's really carefully come off to one side. And we'll take the foam roller out of the way. Let's put the foam roller off to the side for a moment and turn to lay on our sides. We'll take our legs all the way straight to start. Head resting on the arm, legs nice and long, reaching through your toes. Squeeze your legs together and lift them to a hover. We can have a hand on the floor for balance, an arm to the ceiling, to the thigh, overhead. Pulling in with your tummy, let's bend at the waist and lift the legs higher and lower down. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. Pull inwards with your tummy. Feel the abdominal muscles support the movement, and then focus on the obliques, the muscles that wrap around the side of your waist. Good. Let's keep this going. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. We'll do three more. Strong obliques, legs together, reaching through your toes. Last one, lower it down. Let's bring our knees to bent. Take your top leg all the way straight, reaching through your toes. And let's rotate that leg internally from the hip so the knee and toes go heavy towards the mat. We'll lift and lower the leg from the hip. As you begin to lift and lower, we're focused on the side of the bottom. We're also focused on keeping the pelvis nice and still. Good, lifting and lowering. We lift up, maybe as high as we can, and then just lower so we're in line with the hip rather than coming all the way to the floor. Good. Just two more here. And one more. Leg goes back in line with the hip, and then we're going forward, lift, lower, bring it back. So the leg goes in front of the body. We lift it up, lower it down, and then bring it back. Let's keep this going. Forward, up, down, and back. Excellent. Again, working to keep the pelvis still. Taking your time with the movement. Forward, lift, lower, back in line with the body. As we go, we'll try to keep that sense of lift from the underside of the waist so that the torso remains in good alignment. Good. Forward, up, down, and back. Still working to keep a little internal rotation from the hip. Good. We're just doing two more. Forward, up, down, back. One more, out in front, lift, lower, and back. Good. We'll take it back out in front and pause here. Just little pulses towards the floor, going down, 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 down. We'll stay with this. keeping the hips steady, the belly pulling in for stability, leg bouncing from the hip down towards the ground. Good. Stay here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now we're going up. Little pulses, lift, up, 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 up. Good. Changing the work just a little bit. Keeping it going, lifting up, 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 up. We'll stay here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it down and little massage for your bum if it needs it. All right, let's all come up so that we're resting on our forearm. Elbow underneath the shoulder and really lifting up out of that shoulder joint. We're going to bring our other hand so that the hand is behind the head. And then we're going to lift the knee up so we're externally rotated from the hip joint. All right, now we're going to go a little bit of elbow to knee here. So bringing your leg up and crunching a little bit into your side body, and then we'll put the leg down. Good. Lifting the leg, bending at the waist a little bit. I want you to feel your obliques start to work again here. So the side body works. We have a little bit of glutes probably left over from the work we were just doing, but we want to feel that side body too. Good. Let's bring the elbow to knee, a little crunch into the side body. Let's do another 3. Good. And 2. Excellent. We'll do 1 more. And then put that foot down and let's all come on up to a seat. We'll go to the other end of the mat and lay down on the other side. Rests on the arm, shoulders and hips are stacked, waist is lifting up, legs are straight. We'll lift our legs to a hover, squeeze them together, pull inwards with your tummy. And here we go. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. Bending at the waist, feeling your side body work. Good. Exhale, lift, inhale, lower. Trying to really keep the legs squeezing together so they're one big heavy weight for the side body to lift. We reach through the toes. Good. Bending sideways. Keep it going. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Pulling inwards with your tummy to help support. Good. Let's do just a couple more here. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Last one. We'll lower it down. Let's bend those knees. Again, checking that there's that sense of a lift from the underside of the waist, abs pulling in, hips stacked, top leg in line with the body, knee internally rotated or leg internally rotated from the hip, and then we lift up and down here. Knee and toes turning towards the floor. All that coming from the hip joint. Good. Lifting as high as you can, perhaps. And then just coming down so the leg is in line with the hip with each repetition. Good. We'll stay with this just a little while longer. We'll do 3 more. And 2. And 1 more. Good. Leg in line with the hip, checking you still have that sense of lift from the underside of the waist. I want you to feel like you have a long line that runs down from your crown of your head to your tailbone. And then we'll go out in front with the leg, lift it up, lower it down, and bring it back. We go out in front, up, down, and back. And leg out in front, lift, lower, return. Out in front, lift, lower, and bring it back. Hips stay steady, forward, lift, lower, return. We try to keep the torso as still as we can. Good. Out in front, up, down, and back. We have a few more here, staying strong from the side of the bottom. Out in front, up, down, and back. Out in front, up, down, and back. Good. Out in front, lift, lower, return, and then let's go out in front and pause, little pulses towards the floor, going down, 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 down. Good. Staying with it, strong from the side of the bottom, noticing if the side is more difficult or easier than the other side, or keeping it going, little pulses. We'll stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lifting up, going up, 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 feeling a difference in that work from bouncing down to bouncing upwards. Keeping it going, stay with it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lower it down, massage for your bum if it needs it. All right, let's go ahead and come up onto that forearm, elbow underneath the shoulder. We find that sense of lift out of the armpit. We want to stay strong through that shoulder joint. Other hand comes so the fingertips touch the back of the head. Let's turn the top leg out, opening for a clamshell. And now we're focused on our side body, elbow and knee towards one another. It doesn't matter if they touch or not. And then let's come back down. Good. So bending into the waist, knee towards elbow, and then lower. Good. Elbow, knee to elbow, and down. Bending in your waist a little bit, focusing on the side body, on that top side. Good. Let's do a couple more here. And one more. Lower it down. Let's put the leg down and all turn over onto our tummies. Once you're laying on your tummy, arms reach back by your sides. Let's squeeze the palms into the sides of the legs, getting some arm work. And then pulling inwards with your belly, lengthening your spine, small tuck of your chin. Let's lift the chest off the mat on the inhale. And exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Good. Keep it going. Lengthening the spine. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Let's do 3 more. Focusing on your upper back. Trying to flatten out the natural curvature in your upper back. And then let it return. 1 more. Lower it down. Let's bring our hands by our shoulders and sit back to a child's pose. Bum back towards your feet. Stretch your lower back. Let's come forward and into a plank, and we're holding for a minute. So we'll set up. Shoulders are broad, shoulder blades broad on the back. So you can be on your hands or your forearms, whatever feels right for you. Let's tuck the tail a little bit, pull in with your belly, and we'll step the feet back one at a time, coming into your best plank. As we begin to hold this position, we'll focus on our breath. Lifting from the fronts of the thighs, lifting from your abdominal muscles, staying strong in your upper back and your shoulders and your arms. If you're on your hands, we'll grip the floor with our fingers and turn the eyes of the elbows forward. If we're on the forearms, we'll pull the elbows just a little bit towards the feet to get that extra bit of abdominal engagement. Stay with it and breathe. Lifting up from your tummy, staying strong with your abdominal muscles the whole time. We're almost done. Stay with your breath. We'll stay here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees down. Stretch out your shoulders in any way that feels appropriate for your body. All right, let's come on up. We'll grab the foam roller again, and let's put it right in front of our knees. We're going to move anything out of the way that might prohibit the foam roller from moving. And then let's go ahead and come to a quadruped position. Hands come out front, and we'll step our knees up onto the foam roller. So just below the knees on the shins. We'll walk our hands a big step forward and then take the shoulders forward over the wrists. Now, tucking the tailbone a little bit, we'll take our feet off the floor and pull the knees in towards the chest. Strong abs. And inhale, legs go away. Exhale, pull in, strong tummy. Inhale, bring it out. Good. Exhale, pull in, knees to chest, abs engaged. Inhale, legs go away from the body. Shoulders stay over the wrists the whole time. Knees to chest on the exhale. Inhale, they go away. Pulling inwards with your belly the whole time. Staying strong with your shoulders and your arms. Let's do 3 more. And 2. And 1 more. Let's go ahead and put our knees down and come off of the foam roller. We're going to move it out of the way. And then let's all lay back down onto our backs. Once you're there, we're grabbing the foam roller again and putting it behind our knees. We'll lift our hips up, put the foam roller on the sacrum, and then lift your legs one at a time up to tabletop. We'll straighten our legs up towards the ceiling, reaching through our toes, engaging the quads so the legs are straight. And then let's do one leg forward towards the body, the other leg away. So we're in a scissor, we'll pulse twice, take it up to the ceiling and switch, pulse, pulse, up to the sky, switch, pulse, pulse to the ceiling, switch, pulse, pulse to the sky. Good, let's keep this going. Starting to engage a little more through the hamstrings, the back of the thighs are working. We're also engaged in our quads, working the front of the thighs to help extend at the knee. Abs are engaged. Let's keep this going. Switch, pulse, pulse. Good. Let's do another 3 more on each side. And 2. 1 more on each side. Both legs up towards the ceiling. Let's go ahead and bend our knees. And then we'll take both legs away from the body down towards the ground, thinking about the abdominals again, and then bringing it back up. So both legs go down towards the ground, maybe all the way till your toes touch the floor, and then bring it back up. Your choice of how big you go. If this is not okay for your body, then we'll go back to our leg changes with one leg coming down and then switching to the other side. Lowering the legs, bringing it back up. Staying focused on your low abs. Pull inwards with your belly button as the legs go towards the floor. Good. Let's do just a couple more here, lowering down and lifting up. And 1 more. Let's bring that all the way up and then extend your legs up towards the ceiling, reaching towards the sky. Let's turn our feet out and then we'll open our legs to a straddle and then reach up towards the ceiling, engaging the inner thighs. Open and then reach up. We extend through the inner thigh muscles, and then with that length, we engage them to bring them legs back together. Opening on the inhale, exhale, reach to the sky. Let's do another 3 and 2. We'll do 1 more, open and then reach up. We'll bring our feet to parallel, bend the knees, and then let's go ahead and pull one knee in towards the chest, grabbing hold of it with your hands and hugging that leg towards your chest. We'll straighten the other leg all the way and then drop the leg towards the floor. Our goal here is a stretch in our hip flexors. So we're thinking about keeping that leg really straight and using the space to get that extra bit of extension through the front of the hip. This is an active stretch, so squeeze your bum, lengthen your knee, engage your quads, lengthen through those hamstrings. Good, hold and breathe here. Let's engage our abdominals a little bit. Lift the leg up a few inches so that you feel your hip flexors engage a little bit, and then reach through your toes and lengthen back down towards the floor, extending again from the hip. Hold and breathe, lengthening through the front of your hip again. I'll stay here, knee nice and straight, reaching through your toes. And then let's bring that all the way back in. Knee bent, we're switching sides. Take hold of the knee, hug it into your chest, straighten that other leg out. We'll drop it down towards the ground, holding the other leg in towards the chest so we can't arch the low back. Letting that whole leg lengthen and drop towards the floor. Let's engage the abs and the hip flexors. Lift the leg up just a few inches. Good. And then reach through your toes, extend the leg a little more, and drop it back down towards the ground. Lengthening again through the front of the hip. And then let's bend that leg, bring it all the way back in. We'll put our feet down onto the floor. Let's move the foam roller out from underneath the sacrum, move it so that it goes underneath the soles of your feet. Once you have the foam roller there, we're thinking about pulling our heels towards the bottom already. Let's roll up into a bridge here. Bringing the low back down to the mat, tuck your pelvis, peel your spine off the mat, rolling up into a bridge, pulling your heels towards your bum. Strong hamstrings. Roll it back down, one bone at a time, lengthening your spine down onto the floor, coming all the way down and finding neutral at the bottom. Good. Inhale there, exhale, low back down to the ground, tuck your pelvis, pull your heels towards your bottom, peel your spine off the mat, work those hamstrings. Hold at the top, and then roll back down, one bone at a time, lengthening your spine onto the ground. We're just going to do one more here. Heels towards bum, low back to the mat to start. Use your abs. Then heels towards your bottom, engaging the backs of your thighs. Let's roll it back down, one bone at a time, lengthening the spine onto the mat. We'll find neutral, take the feet off the foam roller. Let's move it out of the way. Straighten your legs all the way out on your mat. Take your arms all the way up over the crown of your head, lengthening your body. Engage your abdominal muscles. We'll inhale, lift the head and shoulders. Exhale, rolling up to a seat, finding your C shape. Lift your spine to your tallest seat once you're there. Separate your feet so they're shoulder width apart. Nod your head forward, round through your upper back and your mid back and your lower back. Send your sit bones behind you to stretch the backs of your thighs. Hamstring stretch, lengthening through your spine as well, thinking about creating space between your vertebrae. Ground your sit bones down, roll back up one bone at a time to your very tallest seat. Let's do one more. Nod your head forward, rounding the upper back, the mid back, the low back. Thinking about stretching your spine forward, sending your sit bones backwards, stretching your hamstrings again. Grounding your sit bones down, roll back up one bone at a time, coming to your very tallest seat. Drop your hands. Let's grab the foam roller, put it back behind your back. One more time, we'll lean back so the foam roller is below the shoulder blades. Hands behind the head, supporting the head and neck. Lift your bum off the ground once you're comfortable, and let's take a little roll up and down the back. Getting a little massage on the upper and mid back. Finding any spots that need extra attention. Let's bring the foam roller just below the shoulder blades again. Put your bum down, reach forward, grab hold of your legs, and come on up to a seat. We'll either cross the legs, straighten the legs, find a position where you're comfortable to sit. Sit bones grounded down into the floor, hands on the legs, resting or on the floor. Sitting as tall as you can, lifting through the crown of your head. Try to make yourself as tall as you possibly can be while grounding your seat and your legs into the floor. Take a couple really nice deep breaths here, focusing on your breath and your body as you lift up even taller through your spine. Feel your breath in your lungs. Feel how your breath fills your abdominal cavity, maybe as you breathe. Feeling the breath in your body, noticing the engagement of the muscles in your back and your abdominals as you sit as tall as you can. One more nice deep breath here. And that's our class for today. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope you enjoy your weekend and have a happy new year.